going on, everyone? Darkwater here, and welcome back to Model Railway Easily. Uh, Finishing up our build of our Mountain Vista area. Start with adding a couple roads in so people can actually access both the coal mine as well as the uh, isolated cabin here. And then we start dropping some trees down. I don't think I do any kind of major paint on the front section of the board. I don't think I dirty it up at all. It's still fairly green, but it doesn't look horrific because a lot of it is covered with trees. Copied this down, and then I realized I'm going to have to move a bunch of trees so I can actually have the train going through here. But fill out the little nature path up here. I do add a person up there overlooking it, just taking in the morning air, enjoying the breeze and the nice walk around the path there, getting a good view of the lake. Um, Add a couple trash cans to the house and a truck, but don't do a whole lot more than that. Uh, on the other side, we do add some more trees, and I debated briefly about taking the water off the front edge of the board and underneath that train track, but I don't end up doing it just because it's going to readjust everything from the trestle pillars to the rocks that are in the back as well as the pier, and some of the other rocks just all sink whenever you start messing with some of the terrain. Um, but darken the path a little bit so it kind of sticks out a little bit more. And then we use some of the darker uh, gray on the kind of cliff area walls to give it a little bit more eroded feel. I feel a lot of walking has happened around the cabin a little bit. We've got a truck that we dropped next to it because I figure, truck probably is a good idea. And again, the lack of variation within the people is a little sad, but she looks like she had a good walk. Uh, Thought about adding a dumpster, but then I'm all, I don't know how anybody's picking that up, really. Uh, oh, forgot I added this bench to kind of the end of the dock so that people could just sit on the dock and look out over the water. I kind of push it to the side so that the kids or the grandkids can run along the side and jump into the water. Debated about adding the billboard, but I thought it just might be a little too much. But we darkened some of the path area up against where the water meets the land, and I might have added a rock or two back there. But we start to fill in the front half because this is a model railroad. I would imagine that you kind of want to leave a little bit of space, so there's some sight lines that I leave in there, including the where the water kind of juts down to the near the train track on the bottom here. I kind of leave that area open a little bit more, so if you're looking at eye level, if you will, you can actually just look over the water and you can see the two train tracks going between the hills there. But we do a bunch of trees on the other side leading up to the coal mine up there, and forgot I still had to contend with some of those rocks, so we take those out in the meantime. End up with a tree in the house there, so get rid of that. And then as I'm putting these trees along the side of the road, it becomes very clear that they're just very much in alignment, so I do slide them back a little bit because it's very fence posty, for lack of better words. But yeah, they were right up against the road, just kind of all even, and I don't imagine trees would necessarily grow that way. I do not do any kind of crossing gates or anything, just dirt paths over them because I feel that we're way out in kind of in the country area where there's not a whole lot of traffic. The there's enough. Well, maybe there's not enough of the leeway so you could actually see if a train's coming or not. But I think there's a little bit. I don't think the local government would invest the money for that little of traffic going across. I assume that's a governmental issue, not a train issue or a railroad company issue. Not actually sure on that. That's an interesting thing to look up. We add some more trees on the windy dirt road up to the coal mine, just to kind of even things out a little bit. And then we add a few people up working at the mine. Have one person overseeing it, and a couple other people just wandering around, give it a little bit more life and personality. So that little groove there in the little break in the trees is intentionally left. So again, if you're looking at it at eye level, you can just kind of see straight. But I use some of these rocks to give it a little bit of a texture in this area, so it's not just the terrain paint, which I do right here, and end up taking that terrain paint way down into the water. You can't see it at most of the angles, but if you're looking kind of from a top down, you can see it. But yeah, from any of the side angles, you don't really see the bottom of the water that much. But we take these rocks and we just kind of do a U shape around the end here. I add a little bit of foliage, some ferns, and some bushes just to give it a little bit of a little texture. But this was an enjoyable build. The terrain editing is still something that I fight with. It's not bad. It's it has its quirks, to say the least. Um, but becoming more familiar with it, I think will allow me to do a lot more interesting things coming in future videos. I've got a couple ideas on something I want to try, but we will see on that. But I add in these people, and that is about it. So we've got a couple of people running. We've got a businessman kind of overseeing things up at the top here. There we go. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this build here. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give the video a like. And there are a few cinematics after this. But hopefully I will see you again soon in the next model Railway Easily. And as always, I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.